I want to thank Greg, our VP of Marketing here at Conmark Inc. And also with me today is Peter Wilson, the Managing Director of the Bollinger Group. Conmark is a distribution arm of the Bollinger Group. You may have noticed my name is Marlon Bollinger. I started the Bollinger Group over 15 years ago. Prior to that, and you can go on conmarkinc.com and see our bios there. But I had previously spent in excess of 22 years with the Travelers as a Senior Life Sales VP. One of the advantages of working with us is the fact that we've all had experience on both sides of the fence, actually three sides of a two-sided fence. We were producers, we worked on the corporate side, and we've been in the BGA world for several years. So before we start with the presentation, let me just introduce Peter again, have him say a few words about the Bollinger Group.
Yeah, thanks, Marlon. I'm glad everybody can hear us. Sorry for that. Marlon was busy preparing a gift list for Patrick for Valentine's Day and got a little off kilter there. But yeah, I think I can hear you now, Greg, as well. So Conmark is the distribution arm of Bollinger. I run the Bollinger Group now since Marlon sold it. We look forward to working with you guys, and Marlon's got some great ideas here today as well. In working with the Bollinger Group, you'll see that we are a pretty good boutique BGA. Everybody says that, but we have 3 full-time case managers that are dedicated to an individual. You don't get assigned them by cases. You get them assigned to you by the the agent when they come in. That's who you get to keep, and that's how we love to run our business. And we do webinars on at least 2 to 3 times a week, and then Marlon's got his stuff that he runs as well, and some of his ideas are really leading edge. So I'm going to shut up and let Marlon get to work on his presentation, and I look forward to answering your questions afterwards or talking to you individually as well. Thank you, Marlon, and take it away.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I'll be doing 3 web classes throughout the course of the year through Insurance WebEx. I am part of the mentoring program there, and that's how all of you have tuned in and registered for this webinar. And it's a bit of an oxymoron, the complexity of simple term, but I wanted to bring a few things to our attention that probably a lot of us know, but we may have forgot over the years or maybe functioning a little bit differently than we had. So I don't want you to be a terminator, and by a terminator, selling term, it doesn't really do everything it can for your clients, because term is more than just a simple product, even though they all look the same. So what we're going to talk about today is how to sell more permanent insurance by understanding the term you sell. All term products are not alike, although they may look that way, and they certainly do. Should you offer living benefits? Well, you know, if you're not offering your client living benefits and something happens that would create a need for some critical illness, some benefits that may be there from the living benefit rider, you would certainly feel a little bit bad about not at least discussing that with your clients, and it would cover your liability purposes too, going in the beginning. So we'll talk about term with living benefits. Term beyond the term, this is a little bit unique, and we'll go into a real example of that and how it works and how it can be beneficial to your client. Conversion, the truth about conversion products and their availability. How to sell 30% more premium. It's a real simple way to do it. And permanent instead of terminate. So perm instead of term. So with that, let's get started from the beginning. How do you quote term? Now, do you just give a guess out there and the client tells you, I need $500,000, I want $1 million, I need $2 million a term? Unfortunately, many of us in the business, and I've been selling insurance for well past 35 years, and I know there are many of you out there that are seasoned veterans in this world of life insurance sales. In the past, we always used to do needs analysis, always with our clients. And I think some of us, and maybe many of us, got a little bit lazy and started selling term as a commodity because it was marketed that way. And you notice when you see ads like Select Quote or Matrix Direct or some of those competitors on TV, it's always geared, well, there's $500,000. You know, you never hear about an odd number of a life insurance death benefit, and that's because people aren't doing needs analysis anymore. Some people use the quick guess method. You know, it's 7 to 10 times your income in life insurance. And you know, that works quite often, but not always. And then the absolute correct way to work with your clients is to do a needs analysis with them. And I put the word full here, but it doesn't have to be so comprehensive and time-consuming. You can do a really qualified and quality leads analysis in a period of, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes with your client. So it's something which you shouldn't overlook in that respect. I'm going to invite you to go to two websites. And if you'll write this down, I would appreciate it. The first website is conmarkinc.com. CONMARKINC.com. That is my website as a distribution arm of the Bollinger Companies or the Bollinger Group. On my website, you'll find all the tools you'll really need, from advanced underwriting to some marketing programs we have there to two quote engines. One quote engine that's listed as, I think it's listed on the website as Life Quote Engine or something like that, is a quote engine we use with property casualty agencies. That's not the quote engine I want you to use. But go on there and take a look at it. If you're working with property casualty agencies or you're thinking about working with property casualty agencies, take a look at that tool, and I'll tell you why we use that with PC agencies, and then go to the marketing tab and look up Agency Max Marketing, and that'll tell you about our comprehensive program that we have throughout the country with quality property casualty agencies. No one offers a program quite like this. So when you have a chance, go take a look at it. The quote engine you see on the website, the Life Quote Engine, really zeroes down to 4 underwriting categories. So you have Preferred Plus down to Standard. And the reason we do that is when we place that on a property casualty agent's website, there's no miscommunication or misunderstanding. The client can go in there and run a quote and does not have to put in an underwriting category, because we all know that everyone is preferred best when they're quoted. But unfortunately, they don't all come out that way. So when we work with casualty agencies, we try to be very careful in communicating with them in the proper way, because they're not terribly comfortable with marketing financial services. The second thing is drop ticket. We use a multi-carrier, multi-company drop ticket. You can see that there. You can go in, you can sign up, you can play with it, you can look at it. It's a simple registration, and all we need is your signature there to sign up for it, and we get you a login for drop ticket. Now, drop ticket actually has a real quote engine on it. But what I suggest, if you're just looking for quotes for your client, be that term or GUL, I would suggest you go to the bollingergroup.com and use the Life Quote Engine there, because that's the agent quote engine that's going to be most appropriate for you. So that's why I wanted to send you to two different areas. Contracting, if you choose to do business with us, and actually the purpose of this webinar is to earn the right to your business out there. That's how we all get paid. We're a high-quality agency that's been around for over 15 years, and what we want to do is really earn the right to your business. And this is just one example of a sales idea that we're presenting for you moving forward. So we talked about the utilizing the needs analysis tool. What that can do, that's how what we've done when we've used the needs analysis tool, the agents that use it, we've seen that their premiums have increased by 30% over those not using the tool. So that's your 30% right there. It's fairly simple to potentially do that, because you're going to uncover a need that's a little larger than maybe the transaction. I need $500,000, I need $750,000, I need $1 million. You may need $1,220,000 or something. ConMark can also provide a standalone. You need it. Greg, if you're moving things around there, please don't do so. It's coming across very loud. So thank you.
Yes, I'm having all kinds of technical trouble here. So let me see if I can fix that one.
Yeah, noisy background. Thank you, Michael, but I think we just corrected that with our buddy out there in Oregon. Greg is in the middle of nowhere, guys, and beautiful Sisters, Oregon, where it's 10 degrees. That's where he works from.
Right,
okay,
and
so
for some reason I had gotten disconnected and just finished the reconnection. So
okay.
I'm back.
After you've determined the death benefit, it's time to discuss the underwriting class. Now, how many of you quote preferred best? Probably not too many of you. But we find the industry standard is to quote preferred, because we can issue over 85% of our cases on a preferred basis quite often. Tobacco definitions, we're going to talk about this. Do they smoke? Do they dip? Do they chew? Do they smoke cigars? Do they smoke weed? That's the biggest question we get in underwriting, is the marijuana question. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along. There's a health analyzer in the drop ticket platform. You can go in there and actually with your client, speaking to your client either in person or on the phone, and some of you are probably familiar with this program. You can go in there through algorithms and actually ask your client what their medical conditions are, give as much information as you can possibly do that, and what it will do, it will come out, and when you actually get the quote, there will be a red, yellow, or green light. We all know what that means. If the green light's there, it's going to tell you that this is the company that may fit your client parameters. If there's a red light, it's going to tell you why if you put the cursor over that light. And the yellow, obviously, is somewhere in between. Let's go to the quote. Here we go. Okay. Now, we talked about drop ticket in the Bollinger Group website quote engine. It's good for durations of term 10, 15, 20, 25 through 30, and GUL. And you can run your GUL in there normally anywhere from 90 up to 121. And so you're going to be able to control that and take a look at the different things that you're looking at there. So let's get into the meat of what this webinar is really all about. And let's talk about the truth about conversion options. With the exception of a very few products, most term products are convertible. And they are convertible to some form of permanent insurance. The only problem we run into there is every company handles it a little bit differently. What I did, I took two companies here and identified them, and these are the current languages they use on their conversion options within their term products. So the first one, let's talk about Protective. Now, Protective says the conversion policy must be a plan of permanent insurance, such as a flexible premium adjustable life insurance, which is UL, whole life insurance, or other similar plan of life insurance available for conversion at the time your written notice. We will always have at least one such policy available. We are not required to have more than one conversion policy available. Here's the point, and I think most of us are aware of this, but maybe some of us are not. Even though you have the right to convert, let's take American General, for example. You can convert to any permanent policy I think they're offering at this point in time, and I double check that because change on a regular basis. Transamerica limits it to one policy. Now we have MetLife, which went from Travelers to MetLife, and now we have Bright House here, and they're offering one product. As of November 13th, 2017, Bright House Conversion Whole Life will be introduced as the term conversion solution to Bright House financial term policy owners. The product is not available for retail sale, will be the only product available for both term conversions and other contractual rights that require the issuance of a new permanent policy. The full permanent portfolio is available excluding survivorship products. That's the AIG I talked about. Principal also offers the full conversion of their portfolio. Now, Peter and I were with a gentleman who we've worked with for over 20 years yesterday at lunch. And unfortunately, he has a MetLife term insurance policy that he wanted to convert. And the only conversion was the whole life policy that I just discussed. But when you think about it, if you're only allowed to convert to one policy, that policy is obviously built for adverse selection. So it's not going to be a real game changer. It's not going to be a real income producer. It's not going to be a real accumulator. It's going to be a product that's built for people that have to convert. So even though we don't know where we're going down the road with any company, because every company reserves the right to change the policies that the person can convert to at any point in time, I think at least gambling now, if you're writing term insurance and there's a potential for conversion and you talk to your client about that, go with a company that now offers a broad range of convertible products. And by that, I mean their standard portfolio that they offer to the general public. So I think that's a very important thing to look at when it comes to conversion. The next thing is, do companies allow partial conversions? For example, let's take Prudential. Prudential will allow one partial conversion. Other companies may allow multiple partial conversions. So you don't have to lose your term completely if you want to convert part of the policy. And then there are some companies that will allow no partial conversions whatsoever. So these are things that you need to be aware of when you talk to your client, when the client thinks that they may want to convert this policy. These are things you really should discuss and at least should be aware of with your clients. What about the conversion expiration period? Let me give you an example. I was a senior life sales VP with the Travelers for 20 years. Travelers wrote a product, and many of you may have written this product, called Special T. It was the hottest term product on the street. And the Special T product had multiple years of guarantees, similar like to what's the AIG product that came out that mimicked it years later, Peter?
Select a term.
Select a term. Travelers are really I don't even know if they were the first, but they had Special T, which did the same thing, with the exception you couldn't buy odd years past 20 with Travelers, and you could do it 20 to 30 with AIG. But convertibility was 1 year less than the guarantee period, not to exceed 15 years. Now that's odd, and we always thought it was odd because most companies will allow you up to a certain age, and Travelers actually went to age 80, which was higher than any other company at the time, but some companies will go to 70, some will go to 75, some will limit the number of years, and the Travelers, I use that Special T product as an example simply because it was different than other ones. So you need to know what the conversion options are with the company you're writing term with. So here we are, the complexity of simple term. Everything is not the same. So look at the conversion expiration dates on these policies. Let's look at living benefits. Now, it depends upon state. Not all products are approved in every state, and you folks know that. So make sure you check the state you're writing in, et cetera. But there are only two term companies right now that are offering living benefits. Transamerica, through a product called Transamerica LB, and American National through their term product. Now, here are the factors to look at: terminal illness, chronic illness, and critical illness. What are the parameters? What are the factors there? We know that terminal illness could be anywhere from 12 months with Transamerica to 24 months with Anaco. Chronic illness, both of them have a 90-day wait, and both of them have 2 of 6 ADLs or a substantial cognitive impairment in requiring directive facilities or a directive benefits from the caregiver. Critical illness, Transamerica has 7 conditions they list. Anaco has 16 illnesses they list, but only 13 for you California agents, okay? So it's a little bit different in California. And then there'll be some states where the living benefits are not available. So look at your respective states, look at the states in which you do business, because we work with agents throughout the entire country. So you've got to look at those states and which ones actually do it. And then there's a maximum benefit, and I think with both these companies it's about $1.5 million in what you can collect to write those riders on. And by the way, if you have questions, we'll be addressing them after the webinar, so type them in or hold them, and then we'll be addressing them as we can after we complete the formal part of the webinar. Let's look at term beyond the term. Most companies build their term products to automatically revert to an ART pricing structure following the guarantee period. Nothing new there, my friends. We've seen that for years. There is, however, one company that takes a completely different approach to following the guarantee period. It's Protective. Protective offers 2 term products. One's called Classic Choice UL, which is a term product which offers up to 30 years of coverage based upon the age of the client. Following the initial guarantee period, the premium can remain level as the death benefit decreases down to $10,000. Which is where it ends up, which is like a final expense policy, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. Now be aware that Protective offers 2 term products, as I said. One is traditional term called Classic Choice Term, and the other one's called Classic Choice UL. Honestly, I don't know how much longer Classic Choice UL is going to be around, because what it was a low-cost GUL product that they converted to a term product on a UL chassis about a year and a half ago. And they went to their Advantage Choice UL product, which is their UL product of choice right now. on the GUL side. So you got two choices there. When you go on the Bollinger Group website and you run the term quotes, you're going to see both of these come up. And sometimes the premium is as little as a few dollars a year. So let me ask you this. If you had the option to give your client one of two policies and you had to make a selection, one of them was a 30-year guaranteed term, but in year 31, the premium jumped 20-fold to an ART. And by the way, the only place you can see these ART rates are in the actual policy themselves, not in a proposal. If you run a full-blown term proposal on the 30-year term, you will only see 30 years of term premium guaranteed. On the other product, the Custom Choice UL, you will actually see the 30-year guarantee at the premium quoted, but now you will see a decreasing term policy at the same premium. So this is a little bit unique because I look at this as a real benefit. If the costs are relatively the same, you're giving your client the option now to actually have some additional term insurance beyond the guarantee period for the same premium, not this exorbitant, unaffordable ART premium. It's going to go up every year, and no one's going to pay that premium because they can't afford it, because they may have insurability options and problems, and it's just something that doesn't make a lot of sense. So take a look at that product. Term beyond the term. Here's an example, and I want to show you exactly how it works, and I used a simple $100,000 death benefit to keep everything low and simple to understand. Classic Choice Term 20, a male preferred non-smoker age 55. $100,000 of death benefit, the premium is $463 per year. Coverage is available to age 90, but we know what's going to happen at age 76. After the initial benefit period, premiums increase automatically every year. Consult the policy contract for additional information on premiums, because you will not see any premiums past the 20th year on the protective illustration. So without the actual policy, prospect is not aware, neither are you the agent, of premiums required to keep the policy in force past the initial 20-year guarantee. But, Protective Choice UL, same male preferred, 55, non-smoker, $100,000 death benefit guaranteed for 20 years. The premium is $468 a year. So when I said dollars, I wasn't kidding. $5 a year difference in premium here. So over 20 years, I think that adds up to like $100 if my math is good. So. Coverage available to 115. After the initial benefit period, the insured may continue to pay the $468 per year for a decreasing term benefit that I discussed earlier. The death benefit starts at $32,864 and decreases every year until the death benefit reaches $10,000 in year 31. So that would make the client how old, Peter? 55, 85, right? 86 when it goes up, but he's got that level premium through age 85. Right. Where it remains level to 115, the premium of 468 remains level for 30 years to age 85 that we just mentioned. Now, if the client retains the coverage to age 90, the premium will be $789 at age 95. The premium will be $1,220. You're saying, well, why do you want to tell me that? It's $10,000 of coverage. The premium jumped up. Here's the reason why. The insured buys this product for $463 a year, the Classic Choice term, for 20 years. At age 72, the insured suffers a stroke and becomes uninsurable. His $100,000 policy is enforced to age 75. Following the guarantee period, the insured can no longer afford the increase in premium. Remember, goes to an ART, and it's got a geometric increase in premium, but needs some life insurance. The insured now goes out and buys a guaranteed final expense policy for $1,200 a year for $10,000 in death benefit, and he dies at age 85. Think about it. You know how many final expense policies are sold to people that are uninsurable that are 75 years old in this country? Thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Some of you may sell final expense. We have a final expense department here. And if you need final expense, the gentleman you want to talk to is Andrew in the agency. So this is an example of what happened when he bought the term. He became uninsurable. He still needed some life insurance. So he went and he bought a guaranteed issue policy for $1,200 a year. And believe me, that premium is right on. Some are $20 cheaper, some are $200 more per year. Now let's compare the Classic Choice UL versus the Custom Choice term that we just saw here. Fortunately, our insured had a great agent, and you're tuned in there today, whoever you are, because for $5 more per year, the agent urged the insured to buy Classic Choice UL policy. Although the agent urged the insured to exchange his policy for a permanent contract, and remember, this term policy is guaranteed, but it's on a UL chassis, so there's no conversion. They call it an exchange, which is essentially a conversion. But he urged his client to exchange his policy for a permanent contract. The insured procrastinated until he exceeded the exchange period, which I think is age 70, but he had a backup. By spending an additional $50 over 10 years, his family received $10,276 in death benefit for proceeds. So here he passed away at age 85. Had he had, or 75, if he had bought the classic term policy, he would have paid $1,200 a year for 10 years to retain $10,000 in final expense coverage. So the man dies at 85. He saved $7,546 and locked in the insurability at a cheaper rate than if he had to lapse the term or not continue the term and buy a final expense policy. So these are just little things to look at. Next thing I want to talk to you about is perm for term. I worked for a company called the Travelers years ago. We had the most competitive, flexible universal life policy on the street with the early guarantees called MVP. You could mold this thing to do just about anything at a very affordable rate. There are still some opportunities there. When I talk about perm for term, actuaries are humans with numbers constantly running through their heads 24/7, 365, and even on leap year, these guys are out there with these numbers churning through their heads. Their ability to design life products is amazing, but sometimes they make some mistakes or make some compromises. I call that cell slippage. So let's talk a little bit about cell slippage today. Cell slippage I define as mortality pricing errors that affect specific genders, ages, and underwriting classes. Here's an example of cell slippage. Greg, I'd like you to say that about 10 times fast, being an old radio guy. So, perm for term. Here's an example of cell slippage. Let me bring up that slide. There it is. Okay, took a little while to get it. Company X's IUL policy can be a viable term alternative in select cells at standard non-smoker male and mildly substandard policies. I'm saying up to 4 tables. I'm going to show you a standard rate here. This contract actually exists today. Your client can buy it. What you see here is age. This is a 45-year-old, buys a 30-year term for $1 million. The term premium at standard is $3,779. Had this client purchased the IUL policy, which is a current assumption policy with an IUL feature because it's got a guaranteed 1-year rate, or it's got a fixed rate, and it's got an IUL performance. At 0% interest at current charges, this policy will run for 30 years, same as the term policy. That's at current mortality charges and 0% interest. At 3.5% interest and current charges, this policy will run for 32 years. Now, if it runs for 32 years, the target premium on the IUL policy is $11,330, and it's a 2-year rolling target. So this is, you can see here where I'm going. You can double your commission on this. Cash value in year 20 at 3.5 is $36,942. Let's look at a 50-year-old. It gets better. A 50-year-old, the term premium is $6,069. At current mortality charges at 0% interest, the policy runs for the same 30 years. It runs for 32 years at 3.5, but the target premium is now $13,640 with a 2-year rolling target. So you're going to get most of the target. If the client pays the $6,069 premium, you're going to get over $12,000 in target. So most of the target's going to come to you. And at the end of the 20th year, based upon 3.5% interest, now these are all hypothetical illustrations, as we all know, the cash value is $57,463. So now you're giving your client a potential bailout here. At age 55 standard, the term premium is $10,077. The policy at 0% interest and current mortality charges is 29 years, 1 year short, but 32 years again at 3.5% interest and current charges. Now we know interest rates aren't going to go down to 0. There's going to be some kind of fixed interest rate there. The target premium now is $17,360. You take your 10,077, multiply it by 2 because the premium, the target rolls for 2 years. You're going to get full target on this over a 2-year period, and the cash value year 20 is $107,000 and change. Looks pretty good. So that's what I call the perm for term. And it won't work all the time. It works in certain cells, at certain agents, at certain underwriting classes. And if you want more information, you want some quotes on this stuff, I'm going to tell you how to get in touch with me following the webinar, because my purpose really is to do business with you, is to earn the right to your business, and that's why I do these web classes. In addition to the mentoring and some marketing programs we have, including the Agency Max program that I talked to you about a little bit earlier. So now you can run this at current charges, potential early cash out, flexible to control premiums and extend coverage because it is current assumption UL, IUL, 2-year rolling target. You get renewals of 1.5% on the product, and it's got an extend care rider that you don't have on the term. It's pretty good stuff if it works. Now, all the positives I've given you. Let's talk about some of the negatives. And this is in red for a reason. Make sure your client understands all the illustrated columns, okay? You don't want to put your client into a product because it does have some potential risk. And you know what those risks are. We saw Transamerica be the first company to increase current mortality on an old block of business. So I use current mortality rates, and those rates can change. We know that. So I think it's important that your client understands that, and you thoroughly explain the difference between current and guaranteed mortality rates. That's extremely important here because there is some risk involved with this. The client needs to be aware of it. Are they willing to take the risk for the potential returns? Review the policy performance annually with your client. Make sure you know what's going on with the premiums paid and where everything stands. Make appropriate modifications if necessary, and this product can be modified with premium. You can reduce premium, you can increase premium. It really functions like a current assumption product on a UL chassis with a guarantee based upon a selected premium. Why not show your client the Ben Franklin? Draw a T on one side of the benefits, on the other side of the detriments, and see which side outweighs the other based upon your client's risk-reward tolerance there. So that's in red because I caution all of you to do the job properly. It sounds great to double your commission and help your client out, but the client's got to understand what they're buying, and that's extremely important because our role is to always do what's best for the consumer. That's where we go with it. Watch your email, my friends, because all attendees today will receive a recording of today's web class, a term conversion comparison chart, so you can look at these different conversions and see what they're convertible to. I'm going to send that out to everybody. I'm going to send you the latest life industries niches in the underwriting area, the latest and the greatest. You'll see who looks at potential preferred for marijuana smokers or two companies. Because I said that's the most commonly asked question. And that's up to smoking 2 times a week. So the world has changed since we entered the insurance business, but we've got to stay up with it and know where the best products are for our clients. We'll give you an opportunity to work with us together to grow our respective practices. As I said, the purpose of my webinar and web classes are to educate and to also do business with you. I think that we have a value proposition second to none in the brokerage world. And you have the opportunity to work with any brokerage firm that you choose. So that's a great way to do business because we will earn the right to your business. And I would like to work with you. I am a distribution arm of the Bollinger Group, as Peter mentioned earlier. We know what it takes to earn the right to your business, and we choose to do that. So there you have the simplicity of complex term. You'll notice I reversed the words there because now we've taken some of the complex areas of term and we've simplified them so you know what they are and how they work. I thank you. Peter, any last words on your end here?
Well, I think we have a couple of questions here, Marlon, that I'll run by you. Let me get that mouse from you so I can take a better look at these.
Okay, I'll use that.
It says, in your classic term UL example, with a $100,000 death benefit, does the decreasing death benefit drop in pieces each year or go down to 10,000 as a flat DB?
It started at 32,000 and change and drops down. It decreases down to $10,000.
And I think I've got one other question.
Actually, if you stretch the view, there's about 6.
Yeah, I've got 2 more, Greg. Is this simplified issue or fully underwritten?
Fully underwritten.
Yep. And the last question that I can get to is, what is the maximum issue age of the Protective Life Custom Choice UL? 85 is correct because it is a UL chassis, but it'll be limited duration at that point in time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I think that's it.
I've actually, Peter and Marlon, there are some questions that were rendered earlier. And
okay,
if
great.
you'd like, I can go through them for you.
Yeah. All right.
Now, Greg, they were sort of answered in the question. I reviewed them all. So, yep, I appreciate you interrupting there. My final words are, Marlon, thank you so much for doing this for the group out here, and I'm going to hand it back to you for the final goodbye.
Yeah, you'll all be receiving an email from me. That email will, and Greg's going to record this webinar, and you'll receive a recorded copy of it. And I'm going to send you some information on how to do business with Conmark and the Bollinger Group. That's the purpose of this, as I said, and I'd love the chance to work with all of you. I've been doing this for a long time. We have a very strong reputation in the industry, and we'd love to work with you. So with that, I wish you good luck and good selling, and have a great day.